it's hard for me to accept what happened to him because they took that away. And that sometimes hurts. So do I accept his death? Yes, I do. But the way it happened, nah.
Before we left Andre Harrell's house, Puff told me I didn't have to go. Now, I went because I knew that somebody was going to die that night. Somebody was going to get shot.
Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
There's some things that went on, I knew about it. I told him I wasn't going to be a part of it, but I watched it, and I'm glad it was out. I am glad because 98% of it is the truth.
Before her passing, Biggie's mother made a shocking revelation about Diddy that she specifically asked the media to quote her on. And her words, they might change how you see one of hip-hop's most controversial relationships forever.
I saw the video, and what was sad for me is when he was murdered, he wasn't walking around.
Now, I'm about to tell you exactly what Volleta Wallace said about Diddy in her final major interview and why she said it. But to understand the weight of her words, you need to know the full story. Born in Jamaica in 1947, Biggie's mom immigrated to the United States with the values of a strict educational upbringing. As a preschool teacher in Brooklyn, she raised Biggie as a single mother after his father, Selwyn George, abandoned the family when their son was 2 years old. Her initial perception of her son's rap career was full of doubts. She famously referred to hip-hop as noise, a sentiment she held until she began to see the economic and cultural impact her son was having.
What's up, my name's Puff Daddy. This is my new artist, the Notorious B.I.G. And we here at the Outcast Picnic, just getting our swerve all the way on. Yeah.
When Diddy popped into the rap scene in the early 90s, he became the bridge between Biggie's rough street world and the bright lights of mainstream success.
The Bad Boy Story is a group of young individuals that have come from the New York area, that grew up and was influenced in hip-hop and took hip-hop to another level.
For Biggie's mom, Diddy was the young, energetic executive who promised to take care of her son, a promise that would haunt their dynamic for decades.
I have no doubt that he supported my son then, but I've seen the support now. See, I haven't seen it because I was not a part of my son's life, but I've seen it now because I'm here. I am here and I'm a part of it, so I see it and I have to speak about it because I've seen it. Yeah. But prior, I've never seen it because I wasn't there.
See, Volleta Wallace didn't just wake up one day and decide to blast Diddy. This woman gave her blessing when he signed her 19-year-old son to Bad Boy Records. She trusted him. She liked him. She even told Biggie to trust him too. But in May 2024, after decades of watching Diddy build an empire off her son's name, after seeing what the recent investigations revealed about his character, Biggie's mom finally had enough, and she wanted the world to know exactly where she stood. So let's dive into how we got there. Because this story starts with trust, involves millions of dollars, and ends with a mother's final verdict from beyond the grave.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about your son? Because like they take the music, they take old interviews, and they build this image. But obviously you knew it like personally.
See, I never knew Biggie. I saw my son in concert once, and he begged me to come and watch him perform. I believe he was a mirage.
So, the year is 1992. Christopher Wallace, aka Biggie Smalls, is 19 years old, growing up in Brooklyn, and this guy Sean Combs comes along with an offer that seems too good to be true: $25,000. Now, you have to understand the context here. This was early 90s money, and for a 19-year-old kid from Brooklyn, this was a life-changing thing. Volleta Wallace herself wrote in her book about this moment, saying, "The truth is, Christopher accepted the illusion of a friend and mentor for about $25,000. That's the amount Puffy lured my son with. It was enough money to make my son believe that Puffy was ready to do anything for him. See, that's exactly what Diddy was doing. He wasn't just signing an artist, he was buying a permanent family member. He positioned himself not just as a label executive, but as Biggie's mentor, his big brother, his protector in the industry. And Volleta, like any good mother, wanted to believe that her son had found someone who would look out for him. But here's the thing, even back then, she had her doubts, and this is where it gets interesting. She says, "I used to tell Christopher all the time not to trust Sean." Can you imagine that? The mother is literally warning her son about the very man she's supposed to be grateful to for giving him this opportunity. Volleta saw something that maybe Biggie couldn't see yet.
I'm learning about my son after his death. I knew Christopher Wallace. That's the person I know. And people never knew Christopher Wallace. You know, this is a kid who cried when his friend died.
As a mother, she could sense when someone was positioning themselves as family while actually planning to exploit the relationship. But Biggie was 19. He was ambitious. He wanted to succeed. And Diddy made him feel like family. So when Volleta would warn him, Biggie probably thought his mom was just being overly protective. Diddy was smart about this. He didn't just offer money. He offered the promise of mentorship, of guidance, of being part of something bigger. For a young man trying to make it big, that felt like everything. And Volleta? She wanted to believe too. She genuinely believed that Sean Combs had her son's best interests at heart. But here's what makes this so tragic. Volleta's instincts were right from the very beginning. Even as she liked Diddy, even as she wanted to trust him, her intuition was telling her that something wasn't right. She couldn't put her finger on it yet, but she knew. And that warning she gave to his son about not trusting Diddy, that's a mother speaking from a place of wisdom that her son wasn't ready to hear yet.
The entertainer, I don't know. Notorious Big, I don't know. I'm learning a lot now about Notorious Big. The writer, the artist, the performer.
Now, fast forward a few years. Biggie's blown up. Ready to Die is a classic, but behind the scenes, things aren't what they seem. And we know this because Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, has been talking for years about what really went down.
I think that Puff never mentioned anything to me about Biggie's death. And I've been in a couple of altercations when there were gunplay. And Puff would say to me, "Gene, how you knew?" But on Big's death, and I told him before Big died, before I said, "Yo, if we go to this party, somebody gonna get tonight." When I told Puff that, and he told me I didn't have to go, you understand? You don't have to go, Gene. I told Big the same thing. But Puff, on those two cases that we had gunplay on, he asked me, "Yo, Gene, how you know?" Called me up, "Gene, who told you what was going on?" He never asked me how I knew somebody was gonna that night Big got murdered. Never asked me not one thing about it. And I never heard him speak about it, unless he was on somebody's program.
Gene Deal was there. He saw the real relationship between Biggie and Diddy. And what he reveals? It's not the friendship that Diddy likes to portray in his documentaries and interviews. According to Gene, Biggie and Diddy weren't as close as Diddy portrays. But here's the thing. Biggie needed Diddy, and Diddy needed Biggie. Gene explained it was basically just a business-type situation, but they were cool. So it was professional, but not personal. They worked together because it benefited both of them, not because they were best friends. And the business aspect? Gene dropped some serious tea here.
Big was leaving the label. Big wanted his marketing back. Big wanted his publishing back. So he found out as being an artist, yo, the money is in the publishing.
Now, publishing rights. That's where the real money is in music. When you write a song, you own the publishing. And every time that song gets played on the radio, gets streamed, gets used in movies or commercials, you get paid. It's passive income that can last forever. But according to Gene, Diddy was taking those rights away from Biggie. He taught Biggie how to hide his own publishing rights in other people's names. At first, this probably seemed like a smart business move, like tax planning or something. But eventually, Biggie realized that Diddy was using this to keep the money away from him.
Well, Big had to listen to Puff. You know, he had to listen to Puff because Puff owned his publishing and his marketing. and marketing, and he wanted it back. He found out how important that was for artists and somebody in this business. So he had to listen to him. He had to, go against what he may have even thought was right or wrong.
So Biggie knew he was being robbed, but he couldn't just walk away because he wanted his money back. But here's the really damning part, and this comes from Gene seeing Diddy's actual contract. He was on a plane with Diddy, and Diddy gave him his briefcase to carry. During the flight, Gene was skimming through the contract, and at the end it said, "We're going to discuss about you getting your publishing and your marketing back." Gene estimates that contract was worth about $62 million. But Biggie's direct earnings were capped at increments of $250,000. Everything else stayed with Diddy.
Big had a contract, and what happened was when me and Puff rode on the plane coming back down there, Puff gave me his briefcase and everything like that. Like, yo, here, like me carry this shit. Say, all right, I got 5 hours, 6 hours on this thing. Let me see what's in the briefcase. And I seen Big contract, and it was talking about, well, you get $250,000, for signing. You're going to get another $250,000. The thing go gold. Then you're going to get this much, and you're going to get that much. And then at the end of the contract, I was skimming through it. At the end of the contract said, we're going to discuss about you getting your publishing and your marketing back. I think the contract was for so many years for like $62 million. It comes out to like $62 million.
Think about that. Biggie was the face of Bad Boy Records, the artist bringing in the real revenue, but he was getting a fraction of what he was worth while Diddy controlled the valuable assets. Gene said Biggie told him about this new deal and all the money he would make. But in reality, Diddy was still holding the keys to the kingdom, the publishing that would generate income long after Biggie was gone. And remember, this was Biggie planning his exit strategy. He was getting ready to leave Bad Boy and start his own company. The commission album that was never released was supposed to be Biggie's farewell to Bad Boy before launching his own imprint.
Was that going to be on Bad Boy, the group, or?
I honestly doubt it, but I'm not sure. Like, I don't really know. Like I said, like, it was so much so in the early stages of it before he passed that it was never like any definitive discussions about, what label, what kind of direction we were going to go with the music. It was, we never really got even a chance to really like kick it about it.
You're right. But you don't think it was going to be on Bad Boy though?
I doubt it, because by that point, Big already had his own label with UN, so he could have put it out on there. Who knows? Like, it's so many what ifs, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to say.
Biggie never got to make that exit. He never got his publishing back. He never got to start his own company. And all because he was trying to play Diddy's game to get his money back. The relationship had completely shifted from personal to purely transactional. Biggie wasn't dealing with his friend and mentor anymore. He was dealing with someone who was taking advantage of him, and he knew it.
I'm a woman who speak my mind. And sometimes you say things, the truth hurts, and you take it the wrong way.
After Biggie died on March 9th, 1997, something changed in Volleta Wallace. And I don't mean just the devastating grief of losing a son. I'm talking about watching the way people in the industry started treating her son's memory like it was their personal ATM. For years after Biggie's death, Diddy was everywhere talking about how much he missed him, how close they were, and how he was involved in every aspect of Biggie's life. He was at events, TV shows, social media, basically positioning himself as the guardian of Biggie's memory.
How do you carry on his legacy?
I wanted to make sure that this dream meant something at the end of the day, because this young man, lost his life throughout this journey.
Now, Volleta was watching, and what she saw bothered her. She wrote in her book, "I'm glad my son does not have to witness that the very people that he thought he could ride and die with wouldn't think twice about using his mother. I am glad that he's not here to see how they have used his image and his name." Can you feel the anger in those words? This woman had been warning her son not to trust Diddy, and now she was watching him use her son's image and name like it was his own personal brand asset. But here's the thing that really got to her. Diddy's constant public warning. He was faithfully talking about how much he missed Big, acting like he was just devastated by the loss. However, Volleta knew the truth. She wrote, "I believe Sean loved my son after he was dead." Think about that statement. She's saying Diddy only loved Biggie after he was gone, when he could no longer threaten to leave or demand his fair share.
Those tensions that a lot of people say did exist and do exist. Do you think that had anything to do with Biggie?
As I said before, it would not be right for me to speculate. If I don't know who him, then I would just be speculating. I cannot go there. We did not receive any type of warnings beforehand from the party, or they were saying like we had received threats. We didn't receive threats. We didn't feel any type of tension. As I said before, we were just trying to move on from the negativity of all the hype that was created from the East-West stuff, just by showing the fans and showing the people out there that we wanted to move on, and hopefully through our actions of moving on and being out there with the people, that hopefully other people out there would be able to move on.
The exploitation was relentless. Diddy was involved in celebrations, mentions on social media, documentaries, everything. And Volleta realized this wasn't about honoring Biggie's memory. This was about Diddy staying relevant by his association to one of hip-hop's biggest artists. But here's where it gets really fishy. When Biggie's daughter wasn't invited to the Bad Boy reunion tour, fans started commenting. One person said, "Nothing new. Diddy been a snake from the jump. If Big was alive, he probably would have left Bad Boy sooner or later." Another one wrote, "If Biggie knew he were gonna die and Puff would have ownership and publishing to his music, which still does make money, he would have wanted Puff to take care of his children no matter what. Puff is foul for this. Biggie's kids should be like family to Puff." So, the pattern became clear. Diddy was happy to exploit Biggie's memory for his own benefit. But when it came to actually honoring Biggie in a meaningful way, he was nowhere to be found.
I have no doubt that he supported my son then, but I've seen the support now. See, I haven't seen it because I was not a part of my son's life, but I've seen it now because I'm here. I am here and I'm a part of it, so I see it and I have to speak about it because I've seen it. But prior, I've never seen it because I wasn't there.
Now in May 2024, Rolling Stone published an investigative report about some terrible allegations against Diddy, and in that report was an interview with Volleta Wallace. What she said there, and specifically asked them to quote her on, was her final verdict. Here's her exact words. "I hope that I see Sean one day, and the only thing I want to do is slap the daylights out of him." Let me break this down for you, because this isn't just about wanting to slap someone. In Caribbean culture, where Volleta comes from, slapping the daylights out of him is the language of a mother disciplining a wayward child. She's not talking about street violence. She's talking about a mother correcting someone who brought shame to the family.
It will never be normal. For me, personally, when I see things like that, I tried very hard to focus on the happy times that we've spent together, conversations we've had together. I thought of him, moving around, of him with a smile on his face, as him being a comedic character. So with all those coupled together, I tried to obliterate the lump, take the lump away, take the sadness away. And it's hard, but I tried to do it and I did it.
For 28 years, Volleta Wallace had been the guardian of Biggie's legacy. She had defended Bad Boy Records. She had protected the relationship. She had tried to preserve the positive aspects of her son's career. But in that moment, she realized that her association with this empire had become a source of shame. The 28-year legacy she had been polishing was now stained by the behavior of the man who had built his fortune off her son's name. But here's where things get even darker. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, has been revealing information for years that paints a picture of systematic manipulation and potential conspiracy.
You did an interview with Queen's Flip, and you said that you heard Puffy say something. You said, "I don't care if Pac gotta die, I don't care if Big gotta die, something has to change."
Right.
When did he say that?
Right after the Soul Train thing.
Think about the timing. Biggie was about to leave Bad Boy and start his own company. He had a deal worth $62 million lined up. He was going to take his publishing back, and then he died. But here's where more theories comes in. Gene claims that Diddy was the real target that night, not Biggie. He said Diddy's security team received a tip-off about a hit and moved Diddy to a hotel, leaving Biggie at the museum. The hitman allegedly mistook Biggie for Diddy and opened fire. Now, here's something that validates Gene's claims. Diddy lied to Volleta Wallace about not knowing Gene. because he knew that Jean would expose him and tell her what really happened that night. Jean had information that Diddy didn't want Volleta to know. And Volleta herself has been saying for years that the LAPD knows who killed her son but won't act.
It hurts even more, especially when you know the truth is just there staring you in the face and nothing is being done. So it hurts in that sense.
Biggie had evidence of the systematic robbery. He was about to expose everything, and then he died. And Diddy got to keep the publishing catalog and build an empire off Biggie's name for the next 28 years. Jaguar Wright says Puffy has been making money off of Biggie's name for longer than Biggie was alive.
Puffy has been making money off of Biggie's name for longer than Biggie was alive. People keep forgetting he hadn't turned 25 yet. He was still 24 when he died. It's been over 25 years. Fucking Puffy has been making money on that boy's name longer than he lived. It supported all of Bad Boy, his catalog. Clearly, a Biggie Smalls verse is very valuable. So then what the fuck happened to the commission? What happened to that album? It was recorded. It was being mixed and mastered upon Biggie's death. It was supposed to have came out that summer after Biggie's album, because Biggie's album was slated. He died a week and a half before his album came out. Then the commission was supposed to come out, and that was supposed to be his exit from Bad Boy, and then starting his own company.
The financial manipulation, the potential conspiracy, the systematic exploitation, all of it points to the same conclusion. Biggie was at the perfect moment to protect Diddy's financial interests, and Volleta Wallace spent 28 years unknowingly helping to build the empire that was built on her son's stolen work.
You know, they're all struggling. You know, Christopher is not here. He was a figure in their life that they look up to, and he was not here, and everybody just, you know, go their separate ways, and the ways that they went wasn't the straight way, you know, and as a result, they all went down the toilet. But I wish them all well, you know. I might tell them to go to hell, mind their own damn business, but deep down, I wish them well.
When Biggie's mom spoke her final words about Sean Combs, she wasn't just condemning a business partner or a former associate. She was speaking as a mother to another mother, and her demands revealed the depth of what she felt Diddy had betrayed. Here's what she demanded. He needs to apologize to his mother. I hope to God he sits her down and spills his guts and apologizes to her. Think about this. Volleta wasn't just asking Diddy to apologize to him. She was demanding that he face his own mother and confess his sins. While Volleta had lost her son to what she believes was a conspiracy that protected Diddy, Janice was watching her son destroy himself publicly through his own actions. Two mothers, two different kinds of pain, but both caused by the same person. But here's the deeper issue. For 28 years, Volleta Wallace had been the guardian of Biggie's legacy. She had worked tirelessly to preserve his memory, to protect his image, to ensure that his contribution to hip-hop would be remembered properly. She founded the Christopher Wallace Memorial Foundation. She fought for justice in his murder case. She defended his work and his memory.
He was only 24 years old, was just starting what was expected to be a promising career in music. But tonight, it's only what could have been. Los Angeles police are investigating the shooting death of rapper Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls.
Let that sink in for a moment. Biggie was 24 when he died. It's been over 25 years since then. Diddy has been monetizing Biggie's name, his music, his image, for longer than Biggie was actually alive to see it. Volleta spent 28 years trying to stop this exploitation, but she was fighting against a system that had been designed to profit from her son's death. Every time she tried to protect Biggie's legacy, Diddy would reframe it as him honoring his friend's memory while quietly continuing to benefit financially.
Right now, we need each other, you know what I'm saying? We lost two of our biggest assets to the hip-hop community, and we need each other right now, and we need to come together.
And what did she get for all of that? Diddy used that very legacy she had been protecting to build his own empire. So what does Volleta Wallace's final verdict mean for Biggie's true legacy? I mean, for the last 3 decades, we thought we knew the story. We had this narrative of the young Brooklyn rapper who got his break with Bad Boy Records, who became one of the greatest of all time, and whose legacy was preserved by his mother and his label. But now we know better. Volleta Wallace's words don't just change how we see Diddy, They change how we see the entire Bad Boy Records empire that was built on Biggie's name. When the mother of the notorious B.I.G. says she's ashamed and embarrassed by her association with that legacy, that's not just her personal opinion. That's a final verdict. So, what do y'all think about these new revelations against Diddy? Let me in the comments. That's all for today. See you guys in the next video.